Hello everyone, welcome again to Samvedna Psyche. If you are working on your IGNOU MAPC first year assignments for the July 2024 or January 2025 batches, this video is here to help. Today, I'll be sharing the assignment solutions for MPC-004 Advanced Social Psychology. These solutions are designed to give you a clearer picture of how to frame your answers and finish your assignments effectively. Let's go through them so that you can complete everything confidently and on time. After including the front page and the question paper, don't forget to mention the subject name along with subject code and the other details as shown here or as mentioned in your assignment question paper. Let's start with section A, question 1. Discuss the historical developments that contributed to the emergence of modern social psychology. The development of modern social psychology is rooted in both ancient philosophy and the advancements of the 19th and 20th centuries. Social thought before social science. Early ideas from Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle laid the foundation, with Plato discussing societal roles and Aristotle focusing on how communities shape individual growth. Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke and Rousseau explained individual rights and collective values, influencing early social psychological ideas. The emergence of social psychology as a discipline. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw social psychology become a formal field. William McDougall's 1908 textbook focused on instinct theory, while Edward Ross highlighted social influences like imitation. Floyd Alport introduced experimental techniques, and Kurt Lewin advanced group dynamics, making social psychology more empirical. People psychology. Wilhelm Wundt and later scholars emphasized cultural and societal influences on psychology, distinguishing it from physiological Liv-Vygotsky psychology. Further emphasized the social context in cognitive development, highlighting how social interactions shape mental processes. Mass psychology. Early studies by Sighele and Le Bon examined crowd behavior and how individuals lose personal identity in a crowd. Le Bon's work on suggestibility and contagion in groups was pivotal in understanding collective emotions, though later research moved towards more structured approaches. The first textbooks of social psychology. William McDougall and Edward Ross published key texts in 1908. McDougall introduced instinct theory, focusing on biological drives behind social behavior, while Ross examined imitation and suggestion, laying the groundwork for understanding social factors in behavior. Then comes the beginning of experimental research. Norman Triplett's 1898 study on social facilitation explored how others' presence impacts performance. Kurt Lewin's research on group behavior and social norms used experimental methods to reveal how social influences shape individual actions. Middle range theories. Robert K. Merton's middle range theories bridged broad social psychology framework with empirical research, enhancing the understanding of specific social behaviors and their practical applications. This period also saw the rise of behaviorism, psychoanalysis, cognitivism, and interactionism. Then comes the last one, contemporary developments. Modern social psychology addresses topics like prejudice, social influence, and interpersonal relationships, applying research to real world problems like discrimination and social conflict. The field continues to evolve, integrating new theories and methods to address societal challenges. Question 2. Describe the methods used in formulating an investigation in social psychology research, specifically addressing the methods of data collection and methods of analysis. Social psychology employs a variety of research methods to study human behavior and social phenomena. These methods include observational studies, correlation research, experiments, and ethnographic studies, each with specific approaches of data collection and analysis. So let's start with the first one, observational method. Observational studies focus on documenting behavior without manipulating variables. Methods of data collection under this. First one, naturalistic observation, that is observing behavior in natural settings without interference. Example, studying children's interaction in a playground. Next, controlled observation. It is conducted in structured environments where variables are manipulated to some extent. Example, observing group discussions in a lab. And next one, informal observation. Unstructured observation allowing flexibility but may introduce bias. Example, noting social interactions in a cafe. And the last one, structured observation, uses predefined criteria to systematically record behavior, often with coding system. Example, Bayes interaction process analysis to analyze group interactions. Then methods of data analysis. There are two main methods, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative analysis identifying themes and patterns to understand behavioral trends, while quantitative analysis uses statistics to analyze coded data like frequency counts to quantify behaviors. Second method is correlational method. Correlational research explores relationship between variables without manipulation. Methods of data collection under this. First one, surveys and questionnaires, collecting data on attitudes, behaviors, and demographics. Example, analyzing the relationship between social media use and social support. And the second method is existing data analysis, using previously collected data like academic records or surveys to identify the patterns. Methods of data analysis. First one, correlational coefficient, which measures the strength and direction of relationship between variables. Examining the correlation between self-esteem and academic performance is an example. And statistical techniques like regression analysis to predict the relationships between variables. Third method is experimental method. Experiments test causal hypothesis by manipulating independent variables and observing the effects on dependent variables. Methods of data collection under this. Laboratory experiments. These are controlled settings where researchers manipulate independent variables. Example, studying the effect of social support on stress. And the second one, field experiments conducted in real world settings with more ecological validity. For example, testing a new policy's impact on workplace productivity. Then methods of analysis, statistical test, t-test or ANOVA to compare outcomes between experimental and control groups, or the effect size, measuring the strength of the effects of independent variables on dependent variables to determine practical significance. And the last method, ethnographic method, it involves researchers immersing themselves in a community to study social practices. Methods of data collection under this, participant observation, where the researchers engage with the community to observe and participate in daily activities, like living in a village to study cultural practices. And the second method is interviews and field notes, collecting qualitative data through in-depth interviews and detailed field notes. Then methods of data analysis, it can be thematic analysis, which helps in identifying recurring themes in qualitative data, and narrative analysis, examining personal stories to understand how individuals interpret their social realities. Each method provides unique insights, and the choice of method depends on the research question, with combining methods often offering a more comprehensive understanding of social dynamics. Question 3. Discuss the factors influencing interpersonal attraction, focusing on the roles of physical attractiveness, propinquity or proximity, and similarity in forming and maintaining relationships. Interpersonal attraction plays a key role in forming and maintaining relationships. Three primary factors contributing to attraction are physical attractiveness, propinquity or proximity, and similarity. These elements interact to shape human social connection. So we'll start with physical attractiveness. Physical appearance is often the first factor that influences interpersonal attraction, affecting initial impressions and relationship development. The key aspects of physical attractiveness include halo effect. People often associate physical attractiveness with positive personality traits like intelligence or kindness. This cognitive bias can enhance social opportunities for attractive individuals. Attractiveness stereotypes. Attractive individuals are perceived to possess desirable qualities, further boosting their social and professional interaction. Matching hypothesis. This theory suggests that people tend to form relationships with others who have similar levels of physical attractiveness, creating compatibility. Cultural variations. Standards of attractiveness vary across cultures, though universal features like facial symmetry are generally appealing. For example, preference for body type differ by culture. And the last point, impact over time. Although physical attractiveness plays a significant role, its significance decreases over time as factors like personality and shared values become more important in long-term relationships. The next point, propinquity or proximity. Propinquity refers to physical closeness, which increases the likelihood of interactions and relationships. Mere exposure effect. Familiarity through repeated exposure often leads to increased liking, making regular contact essential for relationship building. Spatial proximity and relationship formation. People who live or work close to each other are more likely to form relationships due to frequent interactions and convenience. Then frequency of interaction. Regular interactions foster deeper connections as individuals become more familiar with each other's personalities and interests. Reduce social barriers. Physical proximity minimizes barriers such as communication challenges, making it easier to maintain relationships. And the last point under this, technological influence. While digital communication allows long distance interactions, face to face contacts remain crucial for deepening emotional connections. Similarity, shared interest and values play a significant role in interpersonal attraction. The key aspect of similarity are similarity attraction hypothesis. People are more attracted to those who share similar values and interests, fostering meaningful interaction. Social validation. Similarity offers a sense of validation, making people feel more accepted and understood, which strengthens relationship. Communication and conflict resolution. Shared values enhance communication and make conflict resolution easier, leading to more harmonious relationships. Predictive value. Research shows that similarity is a strong predictor of relationship satisfaction and longevity. And the last point under similarity, cultural and societal influences. Shared cultural and societal backgrounds further enhance attraction by providing common ground for understanding and relating to one another. Integration of factors. The combination of physical attractiveness, propinquity, and similarity creates a well-rounded understanding of interpersonal attraction. Physical attractiveness initially draws people together but plays a smaller role as relationships progress. Propinquity encourages frequent interactions and familiarity essential for forming connection. Similarity deepens bonds by aligning values and interests, contributing to relationship stability and satisfaction. So we can say that physical attractiveness, propinquity, and similarity work together to influence interpersonal attraction from initial interaction to long-term relationship maintenance. Understanding these factors provide insights into the complex dynamics of human relationship. Section B, question 4, discuss the interrelationships between social psychology and other disciplines. Social psychology investigates the relationship between individuals and collective phenomena, integrating insights from various social sciences like sociology, anthropology, economics, political science, and sociolinguistics. This field connects broad societal issues with individual behaviors. Then, levels of analysis. Social psychology operates at three key levels. First, societal level, which examines how large social forces such as poverty and political structures influence behavior. For example, it explores the co-relationship between economic conditions and crime rates. Individual level focuses on unique personality traits and life histories often used in clinical psychology. It analyzes how individual differences like the psychological profiles of offenders affect social behavior. And the third one, interpersonal level, it is the main one in social psychology. This level studies how immediate social context influence behavior, such as examining interpersonal relationships and situational factors that contribute to aggression. Amalgamation of sociology and psychology. Social psychology bridges sociology and psychology and recognizes the interdependence of individuals and social systems. This leads to two branches: psychological social psychology or PSP, which emphasizes on mental processes and responses to social stimuli, and sociological social psychology SSP focuses on individual roles within social structure and cultural norms. Synthesis of these approaches. Understanding the synthesis of PSP and SSP is essential for grasping social behavior. By studying social psychology through both individual and societal perspective, researchers uncover the mutual influences of social systems and individual actions, enriching our comprehension of human behavior. Question 5. Discuss the errors in attribution, specifically focusing on the fundamental attribution error and the halo effects. Attribution theory examines how individuals interpret events, linking them to their thoughts and behaviors, with explanations grounded in either internal disposition or personality traits or external situations like environmental factors. However, this process can lead to errors, mainly the fundamental attribution error and the halo effect. Fundamental attribution error is a cognitive bias where people overemphasize personal characteristics while downplaying situational factors when judging others' behavior. For instance, if someone acts rudely, observers might label them as inherently rude, ignoring external stresses. Interestingly, we often attribute our own actions to environmental influences, leading to discrepancies in judgment. This bias can negatively impact relationships, resulting in misunderstandings and stereotyping. Cultural factors also play a role. Individualistic cultures tend to commit the fundamental attribution error more than collectivistic culture, which focus on situational influences. Halo effect occurs when a positive impression of one trait influences perception of other traits. For example, if someone is seen as friendly, observers may assume they are also competent. This can lead to biased evaluation in professional settings and media portrayals of individuals where initial positive or negative traits overshadow others. Together, the fundamental attribution error and halo effect serve as cognitive shortcuts that simplify social processing but often lead to biased judgment. Recognizing these biases fosters critical thinking and fairer assessments of behavior, underscoring the complexities of interpreting human actions and improving social interactions. Question 6. Describe some ethical issues that arise in social psychological research. Psychological research raises critical ethical concerns, particularly related to deception, informed consent, debriefing, and minimizing risk. So let's take them one after the other. First, deception. This involves misleading participants about the study's true nature. There are three main types of deception. Implicit deception, where the participants may not know that they are part of an experiment, risking their autonomy and trust. Technical deception, Misrepresenting study procedures can undermine informed consent. And role deception, misleading participants about others' roles can damage trust. Then informed consent, this is fundamental and requires nature of study. Participants should understand the study's purpose and risk, right to withdraw. Participants must know that they can leave at any time without penalty, and confidentiality. Researchers must protect personal information to maintain trust. Disclosure limitations. Some details may need to be withheld to preserve study integrity, but this requires approval from review boards. And third one is debriefing. This is essential for addressing deception and ensuring participants' well-being, and it involves explanation of the study, clear rationale of the research and any deception used, opportunity for questions, allowing participants to ask questions to clarify misunderstanding, emotional support, providing resources if the study causes distress, feedback on results, sharing findings to recognize participants' contribution. Minimal risk. Research should pose no greater risk than everyday life, focusing on privacy, respecting participants' privacy, and avoiding invasive questions. Stress and harm, minimizing psychological or physical stress during studies, post study care, providing support for any negative effects if experienced by the participants. Addressing these ethical issues is crucial for protecting participant rights while advancing scientific knowledge responsibility. Question 7. Explain the various experimental studies of human obedience. Research on human obedience has significantly advanced our understanding of compliance with authority, particularly in unethical situations. Key studies include the Milgram experiment in 1961. Stanley Milgram study explored obedience to authority. Participants, believing that they were part of a memory study, acted as teachers, administering electric shocks of approximately 15 to 450 volts to a learner who was a Confederate, and about 65% continued to the highest shock level despite the learner's distress, demonstrating that ordinary individuals could inflict harm when directed by authority. The second one, the Stanford Prison Experiment, 1971, conducted by Philip Zimbardo. This study examined how assigned roles impact behaviors. Volunteers were assigned as guards or prisoners in a simulated prison. Guards quickly adopted abusive behaviors while prisoners exhibited distress. The experiment ended after 6 days instead of 2 weeks due to extreme behaviors, highlighting the influence of situational factors and role expectation. The Hoffling Hospital Experiment 1966 focused on obedience in a hospital. Nurses received orders from an unfamiliar doctor to administer an excessive dose of a fictional drug, violating protocols. Surprisingly, 21 out of 22 nurses complied, illustrating that individuals may override their judgment and ethics in professional settings when directed by authority. Factors influencing obedience. Obedience is influenced by authority figure. Commands from recognized authority increase compliance. Institutional prestige. The legitimacy of the institution enhances obedience. Proximity and presence. Direct instructions boost compliance. Isolation of the victim. Distance reduces emotional impact. And social influence, observing others disobey decreases individual compliance. These studies underscore the powerful influence of authority on behavior and the need for ethical vigilance in research. Question 8. Discuss the theoretical perspectives of pro-social behavior. Pro-social behavior involves actions intended to benefit others. Key theoretical perspectives include social learning theory, developed by Albert Bandura. This theory posits that pro-social behavior is learned through observing and imitating role models such as parents and teachers. Individuals, particularly children, acquire these behaviors by seeing others rewarded for certain actions like kindness. Motivational perspective. This perspective differentiates between altruistic motivations like helping others without expecting personal gain and egoistic motivations like acting for personal benefits. It questions whether pro social behavior can genuinely be selfless, with some research indicating that social approval influences behavior. Social identity theory, proposed by Henry Teffel and John Turner, this theory emphasizes how group dynamics shape pro-social behavior. Individuals tend to help members of their in-group more than those in out-groups, driven by a desire to enhance self-esteem and foster group cohesion. And the last one, biological perspective. This perspective explores genetic and evolutionary influences on pro-social behavior. Research shows that genetic factors significantly contribute to traits like empathy and altruism, suggesting an interplay between biological predispositions and environmental factors. So, these perspectives collectively provide a nuanced understanding of the complex factors driving pro social behavior, emphasizing the roles of learning, motivation, social dynamics, and biology. Now we move on to section C. Section C, question 9, defines social psychology. Here mention that social psychology studies how thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are influenced by presence of others, focusing on personal mental processes and social interactions. Question 10, person perception. Discuss how person perception involves forming impressions based on observable traits and behaviors. Also mention the role of central traits like warm or cold in shaping overall impression. Question 11, characteristics of ethnography. Here describe how ethnography gathers data through interviews and observations in natural settings. Mention the unstructured approach and focus on specific situations. Question 12, prototypes. Outline how prototypes are schemas that organize traits into meaningful categories, helping in person perception and social interactions. Give examples like the committed person category. Question 13, door in the face technique. Explain the technique where a large request is made and refused, followed by a smaller request which is more likely to be accepted. Mention its role in persuasion. Question 14, negative state relief hypothesis. Describe how this hypothesis suggests people help others to relieve their own emotional distress, such as guilt or sadness, motivating pro social behavior. Proactive and reactive aggression. Discuss how proactive aggression is goal driven and unprovoked, while reactive aggression is in response to provocation. Also mention the difference between the instrumental and emotional aggression. Question 16, characteristics of attitudes. Mention that attitudes are learned through experience and socialization, influencing behaviors towards object or events and are stable over time. Question 17, types of prejudice. Outline different types of prejudice such as racial, sex, caste, language, and religious prejudice and how they reflect biases in different social contexts. Question 18, important features of group. Describe key features briefly like social interaction, shared goals, communication, and established norms that regulate behavior within a group. With this, we have reached the end of this session. I hope these solutions help you complete your assignments with ease. If there is anything you are unclear about, feel free to ask. Don't forget to share this video with your batchmates who might benefit from it. Keep working on your assignments, and I'll be back with more helpful content soon.